Hello viewers, topic for today is setting up of an enterprise. Small enterprises in every country in a highly technological advanced countries have a special role in national economy. Basically it's on 5 grounds, that is generation of employment opportunities, distribution of national income and export of goods, utilization of entrepreneur skills and competences and development of industries. In previous lessons we have discussed regarding entrepreneurship qualities, skills, project formulation, some of the techniques under project management, and in today's class let's discuss regarding project development and how an entrepreneur will maintain his accounts. Okay, first, meaning and definition of a project. Project for an infrastructure is different and project for an event organization is different. So project is defined as a part of scheme for investing resources which can be analyzed, appraised of an independent enterprise. So project is therefore devised through a scientific investigation process to achieve a set of an objective, and therefore the project management is concerned with management of resources successfully. Next, let us discuss regarding need, scope and approaches of project formulation. Why? Project, as I said, project is a group of unique interrelated activities. This activity may be taking raw materials from the supplier, and next activity may be putting it in a sequence, and next activity may be channels of distribution, like that. So it's a sequence of interrelated activities that are planned, executed in a certain sequence for a product or service within a specified given time period. Okay, according to Harrison, project can be defined as a non-repetitive and one-off undertaking, normally with discrete time, financial and technical performance. But let's see project planning, formulation and appraisal, its distinguishing features of a project. It's a scheme or a part of scheme for investing resources, as I said. Next, the scheme can be analyzed, appraised in an independent enterprise. Any enterprise, they can take independent projects. Next, schemes, activities are interconnected. As I said, you collect the raw material, get into someone, you procure the raw material. So it's a chain process. And next, it is a one-time cash program or single-use plan. It is a precise timetable. It has a starting point and ending point. Right? Maybe starting point you have took an idea and last would be the output of that, right? And next, it's a work plan devised through scientific investigation analysis by a competent term of specialist, and it also needs a feasibility plan. It means see, generally before getting into a college or something like that, you have an analysis. In the same way, an entrepreneur before getting into the project, he'll have a feasibility study whether he has to step into that or not. Next, need for project formulation. First, selection of appropriate technology. Next, influencing external factors. Next, technically qualified personnel. You hire technically qualified personnel. Resource mobilization and knowledge about government policies, rules and regulations. So if you know all this, there is a need for getting into the project formulation. Next, significance of project formulation. Why? Project formulation, it's a best passport for obtaining the required assistance from financial institutions, government, etc. And next, it is also a great assistance for obtaining necessary information, knowing the tax, certain goods, GST, VAT, like that. Meeting the hurdles of procedure formalities. If you know all this, tomorrow if you get the documents and all that, it will not be a hurdle for you. It will not be a big task for you. It will pinpoint of matter which government sanctions have to be obtained. It will provide an independent assessment of feasibility of obtaining sanctions and existing government policies. As you know, budding entrepreneurs, they get more subsidies from the government sectors. If you know that, it would be easy for you, especially in a resource called finance. And next, approaches for project formulation. What are the approaches? First step is preliminary study. Next step is group discussion. Prepare project report. Obtain government clearance. Next, submit the application to financial institutions. Implement and review. So next, market survey techniques, criteria of principles in product selection and development. As I said, the first thing, market survey is required. So let's see what is market survey. Market survey is a systematic recording, analysis and interpretation of data relating to the existing potential market or relating to your project. So it reduces the risk of decision making, and through a market survey we can obtain information in the following areas, that is, one is size of the market, next pattern of demand, buying habits of the customer, taste of the customer, present trends, competitors' products. You will get all this information in market survey. So let's see in detail in the stepwise. First, techniques under it. Step 1, define objectives and specify information to be collected. Under that, you will be identifying the sources of information. Next, you will assess time and cost required to it. Next, selecting methodology. Next, preparing an action plan. Next, step 2 is select a sample, determining where to conduct a survey, determining when to conduct the survey. Next, prepare a questionnaire for the survey. When you select a sample, you will prepare a questionnaire. As I said, if suppose your product is related with a homemaker goods, you go there, you give the data and collect the information. Next, collect data and analyze information which is obtained. Next step, prepare a report based on the data which is analyzed. Under that, you will have a market report, buyer's report or customer's report, raw materials, suppliers report, where do you get the raw materials, where they stay, it is out of the state or within your locality. Competitors report, whether they are same product or some uniqueness in your product makes a difference. Furniture, manpower, capital risk, rules and regulations, and finally marketing. Product selection. Selecting the product according to the taste and preference of the customer, which undergoes many stages to accomplish the organizational objectives. Product design. It's a decision-making process, generates detailed plan, how the materials are and how it is purchased and transformed into the final product or useful products. So it's a decision, idea, methods, next product design, and finally detailed plan of useful products. Product development. A sequence of activities by which products are selected, designed and prepared for full production. Product design has certain stages. Okay, so a product that opens an entirely new market, that adopts, replaces an existing product, that significantly broadens the market for an existing product. So old product is replaced and your product will come. As you know, floppy, next CD, and now the pen drives have come. So it has been replaced, the older product, and new ones has come. Next, examples for new products which are new to the world, like high definition TV, iPod, flat screen, probiotics. It's a new product. So always new product must be ecological and economical. If two things are satisfied, customer he'll feel happy with your new product. So let's see stages in new product development. First, idea generation. So idea generation is a systematic, it's a search of new product opportunities. It involves resources, it involves check of resources, new ideas, generating then sources of new ideas, or companies R&D department, research and development departments, focus group, competitors. By all these resources, you'll get a new idea. Next, idea screening. You'll scan the idea, whether it is up to the mark, whether it can penetrate into the market or not. So prior entering into the new product development, idea to be screened. Next, concept development and testing. Concept testing present in the consumer with a proposed product, and it measures attitude and intention of the early stages of development. What are the intentions of the customer? Thereby you will develop the concept. And next, market strategy development includes development of 3 past strategies. Describe the market size, it describes the market structure, it's a planned product positioning, sales, market share, profit, goals for the first few years. And next, business analysis. Estimate likely selling price based upon the competition and customer feedback. This estimate sales volume based on the size of the market, estimate profitability, etc. Next, test marketing. It involves placing a product which is more selected into some specific areas and observe the actual performance of the product. Whether it is, they'll not introduce in the product directly, they'll have a test once. And next, commercialization. It involves implementing the total marketing plan and full production, launch the product, produce, and to place advertisement. So complete launching the product into the market. And next, Project identification, formulation and resource mobilization, and choice of technology. How do we identify project? How do we get the resources? And how do we make choice of technology as an important factor in the project? Entrepreneur, entrepreneurship, enterprise go hand by hand. In practice, entrepreneur take numerous decisions to convert his business idea into reality. So in setting up his enterprise or her enterprise, whatever it is, whether it is women or men entrepreneur, project selection or product selection is much important. How do you select the project or product? The selection, the right project goes into a validate right proportion, and you have to select the project with the right time, in the right way, in the right place. So steps involved in identifying and selecting projects. Conceptual stage, where project ideas are generated. Next, screening stage, unviable ideas are eliminated. Next, identification stage, viable projects are selected. Pre-feasibility stage, at which pre-feasibility studies are taken up. Next, project formulation. Project formulation is an investigation process which precedes investment decision. The purpose is to present the relevant fact before the decision makers and enable them to decide whether to go with the project or whether to not go with the project. The stages involved in it are general information, that is biodata of the promoter, industry profile, constitution and organization, product details, etc. Next, project description, site, physical infrastructure, pollution control, communication system, other common facilities like production process, machinery, equipments, capacity of the plant, technology which is selected, research and development. And next comes the market potential, demand and supply position, expected price, marketing strategy, after sales service, transportation. And next, capital cost and source of finance. And next, assessment of working capital requirements, other financial aspects, economic and social variables, and project implementation. Next, resource mobilization. So resource mobilization means expansion of relations with the resource providers and the skills, knowledge, capacity for proper utilizing of resources. Resources are there, but it is important for any entrepreneur to know how he or she making optimum utilization of it. If you make maximum usage of resources, what happens? You have to keep cost more, but cost must be less and more revenues must come for any entrepreneur. So utilization of resources is very important. Not only use of money, it denotes the process to achieve the mission of the organization and mobilization of knowledge of human skills, competencies, products, services, etc. Next, choice of technology. Technology means a combination of labor, machine, process, energy and other inputs, which is directly involved in the transformation of process to product, input to output. So technological considerations happens at two levels. One is general technological feasibility and choice of equipments. What equipments you are picking up, which technology is required for it. These things are important. Next, books of accounts. It is necessary to maintain financial control over the business with full knowledge of debtors, creditors position. So it's an informal books of accounts with all the entries of daily income, expenses, expenditure, including creditors, debtors, receipts and payments. So it should also include types of investments or expenses. Types of accounts. There are three types of accounts, that is personal account, real account, nominal account. Personal account, name itself will indicate you, it is by person. Okay, person name, person's account, natural or legal, customers, creditors, debtors, owners, bank, firms, etc. Organization, it acts as a legal person, separate organization. Next, real account. It is related to assets. So assets are tangible, intangible. Tangible assets or tangible accounts. These accounts are related to things which can be touched, felt, measured. It could be fixed, current in nature, cash, building, equipments, machine, etc. An intangible account or intangible asset, what do you call? It is not seen. goodwill, reputation, name, fame of the organization. You take patent, etc.
What is goodwill for organization?
Yeah, goodwill, it's an intangible asset. As I said, real accounts is into tangible and intangible. If organization, it is well in the market, it is having n number of customers, people are interested to buy his own products, then there comes the name and fame. And you get this goodwill if you are into corporate social responsibility. You take some of the organization, they help the society. You take some of the products, 1 rupee would be donated to orphan home, you see on books, etc. right? So this, by there you will have goodwill of that, and that is also listed in the books of accounts. That is intangible one, which is not seen, but it's there. Right? Next, nominal account. Nominal account, these account deals with expenses or losses or income or gains. Example, rent, lighting, insurance, dividends, income, etc. Ground rule for entry. How do you make entry into books of accounts is, take 3 things: personal accounts, real accounts, nominal account. In personal account, debtor, the receiver, creditor, the giver. And in real account, debtor, what comes in, creditor, what goes out. He'll write. And next, nominal account, debtor, all expenses and losses, creditor, all incomes and gains. Things what we have discussed now, it's a ground rule for entry into the books of accounts. So let's see, first cash book. Cash book, it is for receipts or payments. You can see the cash book receipt or payment, that is date, particulars, what is the particular day, particulars, a ledger folio number, next what is the amount debited, what is the amount credited. In that way you maintain the cash book. And next, trial balance for the year ended. Trial balance means debit all expenses or losses, credit all incomes or gains. In the same way, he will maintain an account. What are the particulars, what is the debit amount, what is the credit amount. Next comes trading account. Trading account, debit all production or on-site purchases, expenditure, loss, credit side gains or income. Next, profit and loss account. For the year, that is completely administrative expenses. I'll tell you the difference between trading account and profit and loss account. Suppose some project is going on for an entrepreneur. If it is mining or if it is into infrastructure, some people they'll be working outside, some people they're working inside, that is office job or something like that. People who are in on-site, that to be recorded in the trading account, and who is inside doing completely an administrative work, that is recorded in profit and loss account. Right? So profit and loss account for the year purely for administrative expenses, and that is production on-site trading account. And next comes balance sheet. Here, assets and liability statement. What are your organization assets and what are your organization's liabilities for the financial position of that particular year.
Ma'am, what liabilities mean, ma'am?
Assets and liabilities. Assets are the positive ones and liabilities are the negative ones. In the sense, if you borrow some 1 lakh rupees for your organization from a person A, you're supposed to pay interest for it, right? For 1 year you didn't pay, for 2 years you didn't pay, for 3 years you didn't pay. That means liabilities are increasing or not. So liabilities are, supposed to pay maybe for organization, maybe for the supplier, maybe you're related with shareholders, you're supposed to pay some shares, something like that. If you didn't pay it, liabilities is going to increase. Okay. Next, financial institutions, procedures and incentives. So finance is required to procure all the inputs and resources required to run an enterprise or run an organization. For an example, it is the finance which enable an enterprise to take the raw material from the suppliers and purchase machinery, equipment from someone else and convert all this into the product. So finance is the blood for the organization. So important question arises for any entrepreneur, where does this finance get from? Where do he get this finance? Who will give that money? These are some questions that are generally raised by an entrepreneur. So for that, institutional finance. Institutional finance available to the entrepreneurs under 2 broad categories. One is commercial banks and the other is financial institutions. In India, the consultation with RBI in the year 1956, by setting up a pilot scheme, they have introduced up this incentive. First they went with pilot scheme, and after it is success, then they've started giving subsidies for entrepreneurs. So the incentives under it is, first, lead bank scheme. Lead bank scheme is initiated by RBI. Under this scheme, each district is allocated one of the scheduled commercial bank, and incentives development are taken under these facilities. And next is credit guarantee scheme. Credit guarantee scheme in the year 1960, it was brought up by commercial banks under SSI, small scale industries. This scheme is introduced in 22 districts on experimental basis. And next, availability of credit to SSI sector. Other financial institutions are IDBI, Industrial Development Bank of India, that is Government of India for the first time. It has established in the year 1964. Industrial Development Bank of India under the Act of Parliament, it's an apex and principal financial institution to coordinate financial position of various financial institutions and various small scale enterprises. And next comes National Equity Fund Scheme, NEFS, in 1988. And next, Voluntary Executive Cooperation Cell, VECC, and Single Window Assistance Scheme for granting term loans, and working capital assistance for new tiny enterprises, small enterprises. And as per data available, IDBI has extended 1/3 of its total industrial assistance only in small scale enterprises. Next, Industrial Financial Corporation of India, that is IFCI. Government of India has set up Industrial Financial Corporation of India in July 1948. From 1993, it has been brought under Companies Act. Earlier it was in IFCI Act, and then it was included in Companies Act 1956. And the incentives under it are share capital, bonds, debentures, other borrowings. And IFCI has started its lending operations in modest scale in 1948. It started the operations. In recent years, IFCI has started a new promotional schemes, that is encouraging women entrepreneurs, subsidy schemes, and subsidy schemes for providing market assistance. They'll help them out in channels of distribution, they'll help them out in technology assistance, etc. Next, ICICI, Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India. It provides assistance the way of rupee and foreign currency loans, underwriting, direct subscriptions of shares, debentures and guarantees. Next, it offers variety of financial services, that is credit, leasing credit, installment, asset. And during these days we can see many organizations, they are into venture capitals. And next, it guarantees loans from other private investment sources. And next comes Industrial Reconstruction Bank of India, that is IRBI. Government of India set up the Indian Reconstruction Corporation of India, that is IRCI, in April 1971 under Indian Companies Act. Mainly it look after the special problems of tiny units or sick units. If suppose all of a sudden you have started the organization and your organization has become sick, they will take up the organization and they will help you out. And for speedy recovery. And next, State Financial Corporation, that is SFC. State Financial Corporation Act was passed by Parliament on September 28, 1951, under which State Financial Corporation could be set up, and the SFC provide long-term finance, small, medium-sized finance, industrial units organized by a proprietary sole proprietors, partnership or anything. And next, SIDBI, Small Industries Development Bank of India, that is SIDBI. Under a special act of Parliament in October 1989, it's a subsidiary by IDBI. The bank commenced its operation from April 2nd, 1990. Its head office is in Lucknow. The incentives under it is technological upgradation and modernization of existing units, to expand the channels for marketing product of SSI sector, domestic international markets, equipments for finance schemes, technology upgradation, modernization, refinancing, resettlement, exclusively for the small industries and national textile corporations, etc. And now, tools for establishing SSI, small scale industries. What are the tools? And process planning for establishing the unit. Small scale industries today, it's having an immense requirement in the industry, because before setting up an SSI, you have to look up the plant. which type of plant, and you should see to it that your plant should match with your product. Your product is somewhere around dry product, let us take for an example. You can't go and locate it near temperature is very high or temperature is low like that. Now you should see the locality, you should see it should not affect the environment. In that way you should locate your plant. And the tools under SSIS, starting a small scale industry, it's not very easy, and at the same time it's not difficult too. There is a different factors in starting it. If starting, first and most important work is select a suitable site. Okay, preparation of scheme, selection of industry, under which industry you are, your pharmaceutical, automobile, FMCG, like that. So estimated production cost, proposed factory layout, plant layout, cost restricted to your supply, raw materials, etc. Next, plant layout. It's a physical arrangement of equipments and facilities within the plant is plant layout. Next, process planning or process layout. So it is used when operation system must handle a variety of products in a relatively small volumes, designed to facilitate processing time or providing services at the present variety of processing requirements, etc. For an example, a manufacturing example, let's take process layout for a machine shop which has a separate departments for milling, drilling, grinding, etc. And finally, an entrepreneur is a person who sees the opportunity in every difficulty rather than seeing difficulty in every opportunity. It is not an easy job, and at the same time it is not difficult to start an enterprise or to set up an enterprise. The important factor for any entrepreneur is taking the project correctly, making the survey properly, and knowing the techniques. By adopting these techniques, by undergoing these survey methods, one can organize his product which is beneficial to the country as well as to the customers. Thank you.